Can we talk about community? I am somebody who has been in isolation for many years. Many years. And I'm coming around to a point where I am seeking community once again. But I'm very adamant that I want quality community. Quality. I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were just having a conversation about how, we lack community nowadays, it feels like. There was times where, life was hard, but we would get together, have the cookouts and have the parties and just go to somebody's house after work and play spades and so and so. And like how we've always been a tribal, communal type of people, and it doesn't seem like we have that as readily available as we once did when we were kids. And we were having that conversation and we both agreed on that point, but then I'm like, it's kind of a thin line, because within community, you also need like individuals in the community who are capable of holding themselves. So without it, I feel like that's how community begins to feel like a burden. That's how I'm throwing a cookout and nobody's really bringing no food. You know what I'm saying? You always need somebody to watch your kids. Like, you're not really, you're leaking energy more. You become more of a burden than a community member. And it makes me think about back in the day, back in time, when we had tribes, everybody in that tribe had a role. There was nobody in the tribe who did not have a role, who did not have something of their own that they were mastering. That you came to me for this and I came to you for that. We all didn't have to do the same thing. I don't even think it was a value for us to all do the same thing. Everybody needed to be a master in their own thing, and that's how the community thrived. And I don't know if it's just been my frequency, but it just seems like a lot of the times the community, it just feels like almost like leaking. And this is in the past, because like I said, I've kind of disconnected myself from the people that I do have in my community. I just have. But it's like, how do we have community but also emphasize the point that it has to be of quality? Like, it has to be quality people. And I'm not talking about everybody has to have money, but everybody, somebody has to have strong communication skills. Somebody has to have strong empathetic skills. Somebody has to have strong organizational skills. Somebody has to have strong, each person needs to have their own strength. And sometimes it just feels like we're in communities and everybody, we're seeking leadership more than community. You know what I mean? And there's not much to offer, or, especially amongst women, I find that a lot of the time it's where we'll get on the phone and we'll, talk about the day. We'll talk about what we've seen on social media. We'll talk about the people at work, and we'll talk about the things that bothered us. And it's like a constant conversation of every single inconvenience you've ever experienced in life. And it's like, oh my God, yes, life comes with inconvenience. That's a part of it. Certain things are convenient, certain things are inconvenient. And are we always going to have to talk about the burdens? It feels heavy. It feels like leaking energy. Now that's different from, I have a friend who's going through a transition in life. That's different from, I have a community member who's having a hard time in life. That's fine, especially if I know you as a person. If you have set a track record with me, every single human being goes through seasons in their life. However, if you are looping a season, if I've met you in a certain season and 3 years from now you're still in the same season, I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? And then there hasn't been any growth. There hasn't been any mastery in anything. I don't know. And I feel like that's a part of why we actually have lost community, is because I feel like we lean more on one another than we actually offer one another outside of the normal, money and watch my kids type of situation. It's just the quality of a person, the quality of an individual, and how well that individual can hold themselves. I always say each individual needs to focus on their household, and once each individual's household is in order, then we can focus on the community. The community is the sum total of each individual. If each individual feels like they're lacking, if each individual feels like they need community to boost them up, I feel like the quality of the community is going to be low. Each individual has to feel like they have something to offer, right? Versus us seeking community because we feel incomplete. And we could be feeling incomplete because community is a part of our DNA. That's how we've always gotten along, and it's really drifting nowadays. But I just feel like it's because it's heavy. And there's never been a time, for real, especially if you're a melanated person, there's never been a time where the times wasn't heavy. There's never been a time where the times wasn't heavy, but I feel like we're not handling it well this time, you know? And like, yes, life is hard, but that's a component of life. And if we're being honest, this is the easiest hard we've ever had. This is the easiest hard we've ever had. I understand fatigue. I understand all of those things. And I understand how community helps to mitigate the fatigue. But I don't know, I'm speaking in circles, and this is where I'm lost. This is why it's like a double entendre to me, because it's like we need it, but we also need each individual to be solid in order for us to have it. So it takes individuality in order to have community. The individuals are seeking community because they feel like they're lesser because they don't have community. It's a very weird loop. It's a very weird loop.